Council meetings are long and boring. Wouldn't it be great if they were short and unboring? This is why I have invented the 5. Make it 10. Oh, it's going to be 13. 13-minute meeting. Ashland City Council meeting of October 17th. The mayor started the proclamation saying, whereas Indigenous people were maltreated and are awesome, October 13th is Indigenous Peoples Day. Continue creating a just and equitable community. And there's a consent agenda, all approved, hope it's good. And there's a finance update from the interim finance director because the last one quit for some reason. City government dysfunctional, maybe? I don't know. And as she says, reserves are down 3%. And lodging tax is up 10%. And restaurant tax is down 6%. And building fees are 26% less. And regarding delinquent utility accounts, in 2020, it was COVID, so we cut people slack on their bills. And then in 2023, the entire billing staff quit, so we didn't collect. And then in 2025, more billing staff quit. Did I mention something dysfunctional is going on in the city? And she says, so we finally figured in June of 2025 that $6.8 million in unpaid utility fees was owed the city by 1,200 customers. So $2.7 million will just be written off. So that's why our budget is underperforming. Why does everything come out of nowhere, these people? It's out of nowhere. Everything, every week, something out of nowhere. But this guy says, he goes, hey, when will the new software solve all utility billing problems? And side-eye Sabrina Cotter, our city manager, she goes, probably early next year in the spring, for sure. And then this guy goes, these numbers are just up until June 31st, so July, August, September could rebound, right? And then the interim city manager goes, well, we added some numbers in this from July and August, so there's not going to be any rebound happening. And then this guy so this isn't just the fourth quarter of the fiscal year. And the interim manager goes, no, it's a total fiscal year, which ends in June 30th. Okay, and then public forum. A short gray-haired lady said, and the night camping and the day camping. They are partying and doing drugs near children. Kidnapping and trafficking is real. And a lady with a ring said, fund contingency is not being maintained. It's appalling. Not doing job searches for employees like our city manager is discrimination. And a lady in a hat said, funding the emergency shelter is not clear, and the city is changing where that money is coming from. And the pigtail lady said, the homeless contribute to the city. And a yellow headband lady said, I said be skeptical of the city staff info last meeting. Documents don't match what you see and what citizens see. Today I say double your skepticism. And then a checked shirt guy says, hey, can there be a plaque with a land acknowledgement somewhere? And we need to fight these deer. Yeah. And then Scott Fleury from the Public Works Department, he's the head of the Public Works. He goes, the vacation of the Fern Street right-of-way, this is important stuff. It cuts through Roca Park above SOU through the disc golf course. SOU wants to sell the property, and the right-of-way makes it undesirable for a buyer. And SOU promises to add a 10-foot easement for a walking path at the bottom of the property. And apparently the Planning Commission recommended that specific extra restrictions and easements be added as a condition of granting the vacation of this right-of-way. There's a whole meeting. And someone asked Scott Fleury about that, and he said, I'm just here for the vacation of the right-of-way. The other stuff's all on you guys. And then there was a public forum, and an old bald cap guy said, we weren't allowed to speak at that public commission meeting. And then he rambled on and got nowhere. And then a red sweater lady said, I live right there. Roca Creek is important for the wildlife, and I have a convoluted design solution. She did. And then there was a lady with dangly earrings, and she said, I lived here for 40 years. The easement shouldn't be at the bottom, but should go through the middle. And then the general counsel from SOU showed up and he said, the creek naturally restricts certain building areas, and we just want to sell as much of this land as we can. We're happy to work with anyone. And then this guy goes, I move vacating this right of way with all the planning restrictions and regulations added from the planning department. And crickets. No one liked it. No one liked it. They all hated it. And then this guy goes, I move the other thing. I say we need unrestricted building lots. And this guy goes, it's too early to add restrictions. We have other tools to implement community development ideas. And this guy goes, I understand locals' concerns. But I like to add property to buildable lot lists. I do love that. And this one says, I love more housing. And it was all approved. Even this guy who didn't necessarily like the idea. And then SOU master plan ordinance. Planning Department King Brandon Goldman, he looks like that. He said, in August, council wanted some changes to this. So the previous master plan. And so those changes are in here. And so now this is first reading. So we did so many changes. And the max height of all buildings is 60 feet tall. But the lot on the corner of Ashland Street and Walker, that's across from the Starbucks, or where the Starbucks used to be. And that could be up to 100 feet tall if it has student housing and low income housing. Who is building 10 stories of student housing for this university that is in an ICU unit and about to code? Nobody. Why? I don't understand. Anyway, back to this guy. Also, solar panels in the parking lots no longer have to be on posts. They can be however True South Solar, anyone wants them to be. And the assistant planning director, Derek Severinson, there he is. He goes. All buildings will need conditional use permits if any proposed building is within 50 feet of an existing house, and those are mostly uphill from Siskiyou. And then this guy goes. He says, I recuse myself. I recuse myself because a conflict of interest is so obvious. That's my solar company. When I normally vote for city contracts or fee increases or salary increases for city workers and departments to ingratiate my True South Solar business in town to the city, that's subtle enough no one notices. But this is super obvious, so I recuse myself. And then this guy goes, I move to approve 5-0, all approved. And then the enhanced law enforcement ordinance, second reading. Police Chief Ty O'Mara, who loves you, baby? He just said there's some minor language changes. And then the public forum started right away. Pigtail Lady said, we need to focus on inclusion. And the young guy in glasses said, you all went to an inclusion seminar last night, but you're still going to do this? And then the street nurse said, this ordinance is not trauma informed and housing is a solution. And there's no clapping. She loves stopping the clapping. And then a former naked counselor came up and said, our police don't have the skills to deal with homeless. This ordinance destroys police morale, and only bullies don't quit our police force. And the lady in striped shirt said, staff needs to continually update data for council. I was afraid of being zone excluded for handing out flyers yesterday. And a kid in a plaid shirt said, I like driving a stick shift, or just like driving a stick shift, you need to push more than one pedal and use subtlety. And then this guy goes, how will police bring data about social services offered to offenders to this council? And Police Chief Ty O'Mara goes, that's a good question. Oh, I'm going to have to work on that. Really, all this time, and never once thought, data on this stuff might be handy? Come on, Chief. Come on. And then this guy goes, I move to approve. I'm respectful of rights. Wait a minute. No, wait, this is the guy who says I move to approve. He's the one. He goes, hey, I move to approve. I'm respectful of rights, but some behavior needs addressing. And this guy goes, sometimes a restraining order is warranted before a final court ruling. That's true. And also, a person attacked our police chief in these very chambers, so anyone in favor of this ordinance is afraid to come testify. Well, calm down, this guy right here. Okay, That's encouraging unwarranted fear as opposed to calming it down. Come on, Dylan. Okay. And then this one, she goes, Aura's doing great. 2200 Ashland's doing great. I like deflection court. This is a very good first step. Whew. And this one says, we trust you, Chief. And the police are doing pretty good as untrained social workers. But we will be watching. And this one says, this is not enough. We don't need this. I won't support it. And this one says, not supporting the data doesn't support this. So it passes 4-2. These two don't like it. And it passes though. And boom. And then Scott Fleury, Public Works Director, says construction contract with Carter and Company on Mountain Street between Hershey and I-5. That's going to be $3.5 million and hopes to be done by the end of spring. I'm kidding me. And this guy goes, what about the green bike lanes with the plastic posts? You know. And Scott Fleury says, he goes, there will be green paint, but no posts. There will be posts when we do from Hershey to East Main later. And then he goes, well, okay, I'll approve it. And now he goes, I move it, move to approve, all approved. And then, whoop, and then Scott Fleury, Public Works says, here's a separate $500,000 for administrators to supervise this project. And this guy comes on strong. He goes, hey, what are we getting for $500,000? I mean, can't we just do this? And he goes, well, we could, but it's so much work and we're busy. So these guys would be doing daily supervising and passing notes to the city and stuff. So it's super worth $500,000. And then all approved. And then the city manager's report, side-eye Sabrina Cotta. She goes, we spent $130K on event partnerships, bringing in 6,000 visitors there at the park at Lithia. And then 2200 work continues, and it's going to be finished mid to late up November. See? And then Tuesday is the last coffee at North Mountain Park. And Friday, October 10th, is a fire station tour. Yeah, it was days ago. And then fire danger is down to moderate. And October 18th, from 10 to 2 is the Salmon Festival. That's good. And then this one, bless her. She says, what's up with the island on Ashland Street? The city is tearing out all the bushes. And side-eye Sabrina Cotta goes, there's going to be some decorative landscaping. And this one says, what does that look like? And side-eye Sabrina Cotta says, large boulders, and we're going to even do more landscaping later. She goes, more? Where? And she went, I don't know. And she went, well, I guess we'll see. And we have all seen, it looks like a safety meeting at the end of the runway at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. That's the end of the meeting. You're welcome.